What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about lesser known things about England. Lesser known, deep, dark secrets. What are you hiding, England? What are you hiding? No, but seriously, from a foreigner's point of view, every nation has this, right? People who live in a certain place their entire life, they have stuff about them that they don't even realize is like very much indicative of where they live. It's a cultural thing. So when people like me or someone else goes and visits England, they can immediately identify all these things that are like culture shock, different, lesser known, that are usually pretty fascinating to learn about, especially from an American point of view. I've never been to England. I don't know what's going on over there, so I really do enjoy these. So let's take a look. Lesser known things about England.
Basically, I wanted to share some maybe like lesser known things. So if you are not British, these are things you probably didn't know about England. And if you are British, these are things that you might not realize other countries don't do.
Right.
Either way, they're just my observations. Please, Lord, don't get offended. There is always somebody who gets offended.
Oh yes, that's a good sign. If it's gonna offend somebody, that means this is good stuff. It's gonna be interesting.
And again, I am Canadian living in the southeast of England, so these observations are from there. I'm not saying all of the UK is the same. Can't speak for everybody else, but these are just some things that I've noticed.
Okay.
I think those are all the disclaimers.
Yeah.
I hope.
Man, what are we about to learn here that needs a lot of disclaimers? My goodness.
So without further ado, let's go. I guess in my mind, I sort of imagined I'm just gonna do this like rapid fire. We're not gonna talk about it too much because then I'll just keep talking and then I won't stop talking and then this video will be like a million years long. Most things in England tend to use 24-hour time. So like bus timetables, train timetables. My calendar at work defaults to 24-hour time.
You know, I understand 24-hour time, and in the United States, it's sort of called military time because the military uses it in the US for some reason, but I am not quick at converting 24-hour time to normal time. Normal for me anyway. So yeah, this would be like different, but you get used to this sort of thing really quickly.
But nobody says 24 hours. So the meeting might say 1600, but then your boss will say, remember that meeting at 4 o'clock? Don't forget.
What? Oh. Well, that's weird. That's like such a tiny little minute detail you would never ever pick up on. Unless you were a foreigner in England. Or maybe the English people are aware of this. It's on your computer or your phone, the clocks that automatically update, that's 24-hour time, but then you speak aloud in like conventional time? What is the reasoning?
It's like this split between you see 24 hours and you hear 12 hours. I mean, even the clock in my kitchen, like on the oven, is 24 hours.
Huh.
And that doesn't come natural to me, so sometimes I look at it and I it takes a minute.
Okay.
Math is not my strong suit. Also, I say math, but in England it's maths. So maths is not my strong suit.
Was this supposed to be one of the like major talking points? Because that's almost more amusing to me than the 24-hour time. Maths. Saying the maths is a joke in the United States. That's like if you're trying to be funny. You'd be like, oh, I'm really good at the maths, because maths is not a word. So you sound silly saying it, yet you're saying you're good at it. I don't know. I bet that's actually hard to understand if maths is a real word for you. Huh. Maybe it's impossible to really convey the hilariousness of my joke, but I'll leave it at that.
The more you know. I've mentioned this before, there's no power outlets in the bathroom. This genuinely annoys me. I know everybody's always like, it's a safety hazard. Why would you want power in a bathroom? Well,
Okay, before she even gets into what she doesn't like about that, um, I already am thinking of 20 things, just questions of. For one thing, there are lots of electrical appliances you would want to use in your bathroom. Your hair blower, hair dryer, you might have a little electric toothbrush, stuff you want to use in your bathroom. And as far as a safety hazard, um, it's never really been a hazard for me. There's really not that much danger unless you're really not being careful. You have to be pretty reckless to splash some water from your bathtub onto the outlet across the room because they're usually placed strategically. And I don't know. This would actually really bother me. I can see why this made the list.
well, when you've grown up with it your whole life and then you don't have it, it's
Yeah.
like, I gotta charge my electric toothbrush in the kitchen, and that feels very strange to me.
Yeah.
You know, at McDonald's, when you have that ketchup dispenser and you like push the pump thingy and you have a little cup of ketchup? In England, they have those for ketchup and some for barbecue sauce.
I like these. These are the title of this video is Lesser Known Things. She hit the nail on the head. These are really obscure, really lesser known. So you have your ketchup pump and you have barbecue pump. So sometimes you accidentally put barbecue sauce where you don't want it or something.
That's different. I don't know. Again, I don't know if this is everywhere, but in the Southeast, a lot of the big grocery stores, the cashier will sit and scan your items, but you're in charge of bagging them, which doesn't seem like a big deal. But I used to work at Walmart back in Canada for like 3 months in between my first and second year at college. So I just needed a summer job, worked at Walmart, which is Asda. And I was expected to stand for my entire shift, you know, the full 8-hour shift, whatever it was. And you scan and you bag.
Okay. Yeah, for whatever reason, she's correct. Bagging groceries was like a whole thing in grocery stores, especially like 10 years ago. Very, very common. But in recent times, especially in the United States, the cashier bagging it for you, or sometimes there was a dedicated bagger who worked there, that has completely gone away. As a matter of fact, it's probably the same in England. They have a lot of the self-service cash registers where there's no cashier. You just scan your items yourself and bag it yourself. And if you're a social recluse like me, you really appreciate that. You don't have to interact with a single human being. You can go get your frozen ice cream sandwiches and check out alone and run home uninterrupted by humanity.
So when I came here and all the cashiers at Asda are sitting on these nice comfy seats and they don't have to bag the stuff, like, man, that's awesome.
Yeah, actually, I do like that. The workers should be able to like sit down. In the United States, they were totally against letting cashiers sit down for the longest time. Still to this day, because they think it makes you look lazy. But like, come on, why make them stand for no reason? I don't care. You don't gotta look good for me.
So, I mean, I had to stand and bag and scan, so I'm not bitter or anything. I am bitter. Another thing I've noticed, most people in England drive standard cars, which is interesting. I don't know a single person in Canada that drives a standard car. Everybody drives automatic. It's just the way it is.
Yeah. Oh, is this true? I'd say the majority of people don't even know how to drive standard in the United States at this point. Everything's automatic. Is this true in England? Like she said, maybe it was the region of England she was in, but that's pretty interesting, very specific.
Automatic is just so easy. I don't understand. But then I'm sure people are going to be like, oh, that's not the real way to drive a car. You got to drive standard. And, good luck with that.
No, that's totally... You got to be a bit of a car head in the United States and go out of your way, really go out of your way to find a standard car. Everything's automatic.
Raccoons don't exist in the UK, but foxes do. I've never seen a fox before until I moved to England, and I see them, sadly, quite a lot.
This is so random. These topics are jumping all over the place, from grocery stores to cars to raccoons. I like it. So you trade out the raccoons for foxes. Actually sounds kind of nice. Raccoons are little monsters. They're cute from afar, but they will eat your garbage, kick over your can, and scratch you. Whereas foxes, at least, are pretty cool. I don't know if they can attack you or anything, but foxes are majestic. Maybe it's just because we don't really have them that I think of them like that.
And, I can't put the rubbish out the night before because the foxes will rip it open. It's basically the UK's raccoon.
Oh. Oh. Immediately shreds my argument. So the foxes act like little raccoons. They just maybe look different. So you're basically trading your raccoon for a fox. Okay.
You can't put garbage out in Canada because the raccoons get in it with their little fingers and their thumbs. They get right in there. Same thing with the foxes. They rip that stuff open.
Yes.
And it is not pleasant to pick up in the morning, let me tell you. This is just a side note about the foxes. I'm sure all the British people are well aware. When two foxes love each other very much and decide to share that love together as a couple, it sounds like a woman is being brutalized in the street, blood-curdling screams.
Screams? Is this a common occurrence? And it sounds like screaming? This is the most obscure fact. I don't know if I ever needed to know. I don't know if I want to know. I can't take it back at this point. Okay.
So the first time I heard foxes mating, I thought somebody was dying. And I ran to my boyfriend. I was like, oh my God, what is happening? Something's happening in the street. Can you not hear this? This woman is screaming. And he's like, nah, those are the foxes. So don't let that freak you out.
What?
Just saying. Almost everybody I can't generalize. Everybody I've heard referencing the United States calls it America.
Okay.
Which is interesting because I've never called it America till I moved to England.
That's actually super useful for me to know, because I refer to it as sometimes America, sometimes the United States. And I've always wondered what people in the UK think about that and what they prefer to use and hear. And I did assume a lot of them used America, although there's a North America, there's a Central America, South America. There's a lot of Americas. So calling the United States America is kind of like a misnomer thing, but everyone does it, so there's no stopping it at this point. But I have always thought about that little discrepancy, so I just use both. Sounds like people in England use both as well.
So in Canada, we call it the States, we call it the US, we call it down south, but I've never heard really people call it America. So that's kind of interesting.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I don't know why. It makes sense. That's what it's called. It's called the United States of America. So it makes sense to call it America, but we just don't. If you're living in England, chances are your mailbox is just a slit on the door. In Canada, you'll either have a mailbox on the exterior wall of your house by your front door, a metal usually thing that you put the mail in, or you might have a mailbox at the end of your driveway if you're more rural, and the post guy just drives along and puts your mail in these mailboxes at the end of the driveway. But for some reason in England, they scrapped the mailbox idea. Who needs one? Let's just cut a hole in your door with a little flap and then
Yeah, I've seen these in movies. But in America, we have a mailbox. This thing at the end of your driveway. Yeah, little box on a stick. This is a classic American mailbox. Let me make it bigger. Oh, now we're on some weird website now. Maybe this one? There it is. That's a mailbox right there. When you have the slit on your door, I've seen those, mostly in movies, honestly. Almost never in the United States. How does the mail person grab the mail you want them to ship out? Because in the mailbox, you just leave it in the mailbox. So I understand the slit in the door as a means of receiving mail, but not sending. So I don't even understand that. But I actually thought that was an old thing. The door slit mailbox. I thought that was an old thing. That's actually a modern English thing that you're still doing. Interesting.
just shove the mail through. However, sometimes this sounds like someone is breaking into your house, so don't freak out.
Yeah, like I wouldn't be used to somebody coming that close to my door and interacting with it. It'd be different for sure. As common as that is in England, it'd be totally different for me.
Maybe. Lesser known thing about England, people tend to sign like texts or messages to people with an X or maybe multiple X's, but definitely at least just one. At first I thought this was like a flirty thing because it's like you're sending a kiss to someone.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. In America, if you put an X at the end of your message, an X means a kiss. Like you might put an X or X's if you're trying to be romantic or something. This is just common in England? Does it mean something else?
Somebody like, excuse me? Pretty much everybody does it. I mean, we have a cleaning lady that comes sort of once a month and she sends me X. You know, she'll be like, see you then, Alana, X. It's like, I've only met you like twice. The X thing is quite like a polite thing to do, you know? I've had coworkers.
What does it mean? It just means bye. It just means I'm being polite. X. What is it actually supposed to mean?
And almost like near strangers send them. So it's a thing. I've also learned that medicine packaging, like painkillers or like the boxes with like liquid cough syrup or whatever, all that packaging has Braille on it.
Oh.
So I think that's pretty cool. I don't think Canada does that.
Oh, wow. Yeah, if we have the technology to do that, why wouldn't everywhere not do that? That should just be on everything. Yeah.
Like, why don't we do that? When using an escalator, make sure to stand on the right-hand side and walk on the left-hand side. Failure to do so is punishable by death.
Yeah, there's no real protocol for that in America. It's kind of random. Sometimes people will do it. Most of the time, they just don't care. They're just in the way. No one's trying to walk up the escalator anyway. Everyone's just standing still, just riding it up. So, yeah, it's not necessarily considered that rude, but in England it is, I guess. Very civil. Oh, we have a loading.
Basically. And with that, hopefully we've all learned something today, because every day's a school day. If you guys have any ideas of things that you'd like to see or for me to talk about, please leave a comment.
Okay. I think that's it. That is the lesser known things about England. Those are lesser known. My goodness, that did not disappoint. This was my adventures and naps. And I liked that. I really did. Very specific. I like very specific. Oh, what do the people say in the comments? If we had external mailboxes, mail would get stolen. Well, Americans are pretty wild, and the mail does not get stolen very often here. So I feel like the UK would probably be all right. Although for the UK it'd be a new thing So maybe all the crazy mail stealers would all pop out at once and it would be a problem. I don't I don't know. What else? I love these sorts of things. Amusing. Yes. Yes, they are. Um, what else we got here? Liked it. Made me chuckle. I love hearing what other people think about England. It's so weird. We have different customs. Yes, it is weird. Um, I like watching, or I'd like to watch videos talking about strange things in America that British people think are weird. Stuff that I don't even realize is weird. I think that's very, very funny. Very amusing. Haha, classic about the urban foxes. Urban foxes, that sounds wild. Foxes are like a step above raccoons. I'm gonna say it. I really think they are. It's a whole nother level. Kind of scare me, unless they're tiny foxes. Man, I didn't know that. Foxes running around England? That would have scared me if I didn't know. Okay, interesting. This was interesting. Very good. Anyway, if you found this interesting as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to England, the UK, the culture there, things there that I've never heard before, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.